Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'd just like to thank you for joining us today and welcome you to our webinar to discuss the initial proposals for the RPZ in Chelsea Road and Foxcombe Road areas. Share with you our agenda for today's webinar. I'll briefly run through how to ask a question. We'll run through introductions for my colleagues in the project team. Some policy context. We'll share with you the wider context of the scheme and the priority areas that are being brought forward. Discussion around your particular area, Chelsea Road and Foxcombe Road. We'll look at the purpose of the scheme and then most importantly what this scheme means for you as either residents, businesses and any visitors. We'll touch on how we want you to have your say, and that's a really key and important part of the process. And then we'll look at what's next, what are the next stages that we'll be running through the timeline of the scheme. And at the end, we'll wrap up with any Q&A, so any outstanding questions that my colleagues Alex and Phil, beavering away in the background, haven't answered live, we can pick up at the end. Just a little bit of housekeeping to start with. So how to ask a question, as you're probably all aware, you're on all your attendees are on mute at the moment. So if you do want to ask a question during the webinar, feel free to pop your query in the chat. As I say, either my colleagues Phil or Alex will answer those as part while I'm presenting, or we can capture those at the end. And as I've already mentioned, we're recording the event. I just want to flag that with you again. Run through some introductions. Introduce myself. I'm Helen Holm. I'm an associate director with ACOM, where I'm supporting BAMES with the delivery of the 7 RPZ schemes. With me, my colleague Phil Batty, who's an engineer with ACOM, and Alex, who's a graduate engineer with ACOM. And then also with us, we have Ashley, who's project manager on behalf of Bath and North East Somerset, and Claire Graham, who heads up our behavioural change team in Bath and North East Somerset. Thank you. Thank you for joining me today. So I want to start by providing some policy context to the work that we're doing. So we have a corporate strategy that sets out what the council plans to do and how we plan to do it, and also how we measure our performance. And through the RPZ schemes, we're seeking to improve safety and amenity for residents in the neighbourhoods through reduced traffic flow. And in addition, we want to encourage commuters and non-residents that would typically park in your area and in the residential streets to use either the parking rides available in the city or cycle to the area. We also identified that air quality and traffic flows and the availability of parking are all significant issues across your area. So we have a number of ongoing projects which are also addressing these, and these include the promoting of a shift to mass transport and walking and cycling, our policy and work on the livable neighbourhood schemes, which are running concurrently with this work, Bath Clean Air Zone, improving the safety of cyclists and pedestrians through our many active travel schemes that are ongoing, and coordinating and consulting on our journey to net zero. So to provide you with that wider context on the work being carried out, we're currently progressing with initial consultations on residence parking zones in 7 areas in Bath. And these have come forward out of the livable neighbourhoods work that's currently being carried out. This, I just want to highlight with you all, this is the initial consultation process, and this really is your chance to have a say and express your thoughts on proposals, and to reassure you that no final decisions have been made, and we really want you to come forward with your comments and either your support or your opposition, or how we can look to make the zones work better for you. So, as I've just said, the purpose of the scheme is really to make the area work better for residents by creating these 7 residence parking zones. We know that the Chelsea Road and Foxcombe Road areas of Bath have limited on-street parking and competing interests from the Chelsea Road shops, which means that often residents find themselves in competition with non-residents to find those spaces near their home. So we've developed this draft proposal for an RPZ, which would include the residential properties in Chelsea Road and Foxcombe Road. Just highlight again, they are draft proposals, and we really want your comments on these. But I just need to raise this point that it's important to note the RPZ might not address the lack of parking due to high levels of car ownership among the households in the area. So looking at your area in more detail, you can see this plan's got quite a lot of detail on it. So I wonder if you want to look at this and be to identify the bays, please go on our online consultation webpage, or visit us at our in-person event on the 17th of May between 4 and 8 p.m. at the Western Methodist Church on Newbridge Hill, where you will be able to see the plans in more detail and discuss them with my colleagues. But just to highlight with you that the zoning area will be made up, we're proposing for it to be made up of a mix of either holder only bays, dual use bays, which are both permit holders and 2-hour limited waiting. Some areas are purely limited waiting bays near the Chelsea Road shops, and other parking restrictions such as double yellow lines where there are no parking bays. We are proposing that the zone will operate from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m, 7 days a week, not including bank holidays, and this will ensure consistent operation with the other schemes that we manage across the authority area. Parking permits, however, will only be valid for the Chelsea Road and Foxcombe Road areas as shown on the plans, and not for other residence parking zones in the area. So the important bit for you all, so what does this scheme mean for you? To focus on residents first. So to be qualified as a resident, you need to reside at your property for 4 or more nights a week, and have a residential property within the zone. That permit will allow you to park in a marked permit holder bay on the street for the zone's operating hours. However, it does not guarantee you a space on the street. So the cost of the permit covers the membership for the scheme and is not payment for parking. We also need to share with you that due to the limited availability of curb space on street, residence parking permits will be restricted to 2 permits per property. And where properties have off-street parking space that could be used, and that could be either a garage or a driveway, this will reduce the number of permits that you are entitled to. We'll touch on the cost of the permits. The cost of the permits are based on the carbon dioxide emissions of your vehicle, or the engine capacity where emission data is not available. So the cost of the permits range from 500 to 400 a year in some cases, but I just want to highlight that on average, the costs are approximately £125 for the majority of vehicles. The costs will also depend on whether you're buying your first or your second permit. You can buy them in 1, 3 or 6 month permits on a pro rata basis, although there will be a surcharge for those buying only a 1 month permit. I appreciate there's a lot of information to take in, so the full breakdown of these costs are available on our consultation websites through the links. But my colleagues will also be able to walk through you at our in-person event, where we're also happy to say, go on the DVLA, check a website to find out what your emissions of your vehicles are. I know that's not always easy to establish, so we're more than happy to take you through that process when you visit us at the in-person event. For those of you who have visitors, who are visitors to the area, any resident living within the zone can apply for visitor permits, whether or not you have a vehicle yourself or have a residence parking permit. You and not your visitor must make the application for the permit, and these permits will allow you to park in the permit holder only spaces within the zone. The charges for these permits are £10 for 100 hours of visitors parking, and permits are valid for 12 months on a maximum rolling 12 months allowance of 1,000 hours per property. Moving forward now to businesses and the impact on businesses in the area. A business permit allows parking in permit holder bays on the street to visitors to the business or vehicles owned or operated by that business. The permit application and administration and park enforcement process are managed digitally, so there will be no paper permit to display inside the vehicle. Business permit parking is time limited, unlike the residence parking permits. So there are two types of permits available to businesses: a business visitors permit, which, as it implies, is available to visitors to your business, and then a business vehicle permit, which would be entitled to apply for if you have a vehicle that you use as part of your business. As with the residence parking, parking permits, it doesn't guarantee you a parking space, but it does allow you to park legally within the parking bays. It does not allow you to park illegally on yellow lines, and it cannot be used to provide regular staff parking. As I say, these permits are managed digitally and are available on a 6-month or 12-month basis through our My Permit system. And again, charges will vary depending on whether you are applying for your first or second permit. We have a range of other permits available depending upon your needs. We have a trade parking permit, which tradesmen in the area that are entitled to apply for. A GP parking permit for GPs who need to respond to emergencies or visit patients in their own area within Foxcombe and Chelsea Road, or medical or social care parking permits are also available. So say more details of these are available on our website, and we'll be happy to discuss with these at our in-person events, or if you have any queries, please use our mailbox, and I'll run through those details later in the presentation. So the purpose of this consultation is we want you to have the ability to have your say, and that's part of our ongoing commitment to residents within Bath and North East Somerset Council. So if you'll visit our web page, you'll be able to learn about proposals in more detail, and you'll also be able to answer our online questionnaire, where you'll be able to give your thoughts on whether you support or oppose the scheme, or what changes you would like to see made to the scheme. So I encourage you all to go there and voice any comments that you have. How to get in touch? Please visit our website, bathurst.gov.uk, RPZ consultation, to read more about the scheme. We'll be accepting feedback on the proposals until the 2nd of June at 5 p.m, when the consultation will close for comments. If you're unable to access our website and require a printed copy of the survey and supporting materials, or if you have any other questions, please, and I do actively encourage you to either contact us via Council Connect, where we're happy to take your names and telephone numbers, and for a callback service, so we can talk through any of your concerns. Or we also have a mailbox, RPZ consultation at bathurst.gov.uk, and we'll happily take emails through there and answer any queries. So what's next? What are our next stages? So this is, as I say, this is our initial public consultation. This is your opportunity to shape the proposals and give us your comments. Once that process is completed on the 2nd of June, we will be collating your comments and we will be analysing them throughout June and July across your area and the other 6 areas. And where we'll be looking to understand whether there is support or opposition to proposals in the area, as well as capturing any amendments to the design that come through this consultation process. We'll be looking to publish the results and make decisions on the areas in August. Those areas where the decision is taken to proceed, and only those areas, will proceed to a formal consultation stage, the traffic regulation order stage in September, where we'll be advertising the traffic regulation orders for a 21-day process. And again, at that stage, you can either support or oppose the proposal, with a final decision being made in October on the areas taken through to TRO consultation. and with the plan to start beginning implementing those zones that are supported and gain that support in November. So that brings me to the end of my slides. I hope my colleagues have been answering your queries in the background, but if there are any questions that you would like answering, please bring them forward now. Alex, Phil, do we have any outstanding questions?
None other than what we've already answered.
Thank you, Phil. As I say, I actively encourage you to visit our in-person event. I'll remind you again, that's on the that is on the 17th of May, so Tuesday. That will be between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. at the Western Methodist Church on Newbridge Hill. Please come and join us and bring your questions and queries. My colleagues will be there to answer any questions, and my colleagues from Parking Services, if you have any specific permit related queries, please do come and visit us there.